My name is Anna Hawk. I am the CEO and founder of Instant Barter. I have been named a global leader in my industry, the #8 entrepreneur over 40 in the United States last year, and recently the Phoenix Business Journal named me as one of the most admired business leaders for what I do for business. Barter is a powerful tool if it's used correctly. The problem is most people don't understand it. And they get in trouble with it because they don't understand it. So that's one of the reasons we put these courses together, is to help people understand how to use it, what you should and shouldn't trade, how much trade you can take, those type of things. So it's very simple if you understand it, and that's what we're here to do. So I was also just recently given the cover of the, what was it, the Phoenix Ultimate Woman or the Ultimate Phoenix Woman or something like that. So I know, we've gotten a lot of recognition. This company is not even 3 years old yet. And we are in 9 countries with over $300 million worth of products and services, and growing, and growing. We're the fastest growing, most progressive, most proactive barter organization in the world. So it's a pretty, and we started this company with no liquid and no paper currency. So that's one of the things that we do. I talk about, for instance, my son wanted to start a company. He hasn't done anything with it, but he came to me the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. Of course, he's 21 years old. He has no money. So he comes to me the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, and he says, I want to start this company. And I'm like, awesome, let's do it, because I love building business. It's like my most fun thing in the world to do. So I couldn't file their EIN until the following Tuesday because the website was down. But the following Friday, I have their digital business card, their phone app, their graphics, their website being developed, their printing. I have them 3 cash clients, 2 trade, I have 3 trade clients, 2 cash clients, and some of the top speakers in the United States promoting their new company within less than a week with no money. We just use their future income. So that's one of the things that we like to do, is we like to show you how to use your excess or your future income to get the things that you need right now. So, having said that, we like to do a lot of interaction in these classes. We like to have you ask us the questions that you need to know. Because I do understand it on such a simplistic scale, which I'll explain in just a second, because I do understand it in such a simplistic scale, do not hesitate to interrupt me to ask a question, okay? So, my story, a lot of people don't know this. I've just started recently. My son gave me permission to tell my story about a year ago. So I did literally come out of hiding a year ago. And I started my first company when I was roughly about 17 years old. As a 17-year-old girl, obviously I had no money to start a company. But I had to start a company because everybody was taking my ideas and I wasn't getting paid for it. So that upset me. So I decided to start a company. So I used barter to start that company. I started many successful companies. I thought I had a failed company, but I was wrong. I actually transitioned it into something else as I looked at it. But in 1999, I had a very successful $500,000 company that I was running. And we had built barter into that as well. We had horseback riding lessons, soccer, art, homeschooling. The kids had all that stuff. Plus we had landscaping, housekeeping. We went out to eat all the time, chiropractic, massage. You name it, we did it, and that was all trade. Plus we had the $500,000 liquid currency in the company, so you can imagine we had a pretty decent lifestyle. My kids were 4 and 5 years old. So yeah, they're used to being spoiled. But in 1999, I had to do a domestic violence name change. So at that moment, everything I owned was now in somebody else's name, and I couldn't touch it. I actually didn't even have enough ID to get a library card. So I couldn't work, and I couldn't get food stamps. And I had a 4 and a 6-year-old that still wanted to eat, darn them. So I had to get very, very I know. So I had to get creative in how I supported my family and not being able to exist. Now, to complicate my life at that moment, we actually found out that I was illegally adopted and that I'm Native American. So not only did the laws not exist to do what we were doing, and I had to write the laws, but nobody knew who was supposed to be helping us. And we went through a lot of red tape. It's one of the reasons I do own a nonprofit, to help people get through certain situations. Anyways, so we literally lost everything over and over again because we had to keep hiding. So I was in hiding for 14 years. And I came out of hiding last year. A year ago. Oh, actually, they want to make a movie of my more than colorful life. Yeah. So, and it's a great story, but it wasn't very much fun at the time. So, and you do have to forgive me. Most everybody knows that I actually got sick for the first time in 10 years, and I'm still fighting this cough.
and I got out of it, but I didn't go into hiding, so that is a real severe.
It was pretty severe. It wasn't just because of the complication of the being illegally adopted. It wasn't just the children's father. It was, you know, the people that raised me and everything else. I've actually had 2 spinal surgeries, a shoulder and a hand. I've got 3 cadaver bones, a titanium strip, and 6 screws in my neck. And I am in pain right now because I did something stupid. So anyways, but that's, you know, that's just my life. And I overcome a lot. And I had to learn how to be filmed, which was just an awesome thing, because being in hiding for 14 years, you learn that if somebody has a camera, the first thing you do is walk in the other direction, and you turn your back. And it took me a long time and a lot of work to be able to do what I do now. So, but I do have to be the face of this company because I do understand barter on a very simplistic scale. Once you get to the point that you realize that everything is currency, the true definition of currency is something that you and I agree has value when we trade. So when you get to that level, now for instance, this particular office, a lot of the furniture that you're sitting in was provided with trade. A lot of the painting, a lot of the moving and stuff like that, moving into this office was provided with trade. And we are working on getting them their blinds. So we are getting them more trade because Kevin's really good at spending trade. So we don't ever have to worry about him spending trade. We have to worry about getting him trade. So, and that's why I understand it the way that I do. It's very, very personal to me. You know, we're working on 3 weddings. Specifically, we're working on Gia's wedding. A lot of people know that. As a matter of fact, she's promoting us so much that she wants to put a sign in front of her wedding that part of the wedding was paid for by Instant Barter. That's how much she believes in this company. So, like I said, we're not quite 3 years old yet. We'll be 3 years old in March. I even built this really cool game here to teach people how simplistic barter is to understand. Yes, it does roll up and go into a tube. So this is the game finally. We did finally produce it and get it ready for the holiday. But the cool thing about the game, it's been recognized in 9 countries already, and we just launched it in the US. So the thing about the game is you start off with $100 cash and $100 trade when you start at the bottom line. You roll the dice and you land on a space, and on that space you can buy a trade card that's going to correlate with one of the other business spaces on the game. So when you land on that space, you can redeem that card for the cash or trade value that it has. Okay? Now, if you land on the space and I have the card, then it's in our best interest to work out a deal so that we both benefit from it. So it not only teaches you to use what you have, but it also teaches cooperation. But the cool thing about the game is when you go back around bottom line, you have to pay $200 in cash. So you see, you have to quickly use what you have to get what you need. Otherwise, you're out. It is not Monopoly at all. It's been referred to as Monopoly, but it's not Monopoly at all. So I do have copies of the game. If people do want them, I have yours in the car. So anyway, so basics of barter, like I said, everything is currency. So we are even filming a television show where we're going into people's homes or businesses and showing them where they have their excess. Now, your excess can be something simple like the clothes that you have in your closet. It could be the stuff that you have in your garage. And God forbid you are paying a storage unit fee to keep your excess, because that is costing you not only revenue, but it's costing you hassle. You know, so we have very, very cool stories. We have, you know, the story about we had 2 liquor stores locally go out of business. The bank ended up with the inventory. Bank can't have the inventory. They have to keep it in a climate-controlled storage unit, costing them between $800 and $1,000 a month. So it's really costing them a lot. They have to also keep it on their books for revenue purposes. So they're paying taxes on this, and they can't use it. They can't sell it. They can't do anything with it. But they have to keep it, and it's like a quadruple negative. Barter is the only way it can move. We step in, we can sell it for trade, we can sell it to individuals or to businesses that can increase their profit and lower their overhead. So they can then sell it for cash or trade because they have a liquor license. And then when we get the $200,000 worth of revenue in the bank's bank account with us, then we turn around and we cash convert that into a piece of property. So we've turned a quadruple negative into a positive. And that's one of the things we do. Now, things you should and shouldn't trade. Well, we do believe that pretty much we're a different model. There's 1,066 barter organizations in the world. Instant Barter is the only one that's set up the way that it is. And there is a reason for that. It's really not about the fact that we have the lowest fees in the industry. That's a side benefit for everybody. The fact is that we go at barter from a standpoint of business. I've always used it in business, and when I worked for, bless you, when I worked for other barter organizations, I was constantly butting heads with them because I understand barter, but I didn't understand the way they were doing it. And it wasn't, I was like, you guys just don't get it. You're not doing it right. So when I started Instant Barter, I built, again, cooperation into this business, because business now is about cooperation. It's about cross-promotion. It's about word-of-mouth advertising. If we can get, Ann, I'm going to single you out. We can get Ann to work with, we've got a couple of people that we want you to work with. She does organization and strategies and stuff to help you set up your business. Now, her being in a situation like working with Kevin's group here, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to need her skill set. I've used her personally, and I can totally attest to what she does. So, you know, she came into my office. Again, Instant Barter is not quite 3 years old yet, but I'd never set up my file cabinet because it's just something that I don't have time to do, don't want to do, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not going to do that. So, you know, same thing with like bookkeeping and stuff like that. People don't realize that that stuff is really, really important. She came to my home office and she helped me set everything up. And now Instant Barter and the game both have a trust that if something were to happen to me, everybody would know where to find everything because she set that all up. And the trust makes it so the company lives on if something happens to me. So it's no longer a small business. And we're not even 3 years old yet. And we use Trade for all of that too, of course, because I use Trade for everything. So I do. I use Trade for everything. Well, you know, my digital business card, we'll talk about that in a minute. We actually love the digital business card. Kimberly created us a digital business card. She does phone apps and digital business cards. The digital business card, this is the coolest thing in the world. I love this thing. I never have to print business cards again. I never run out of business cards. I can send you my business card by email or text, puts my entire website in the palm of your hand, and I've captured your data. By sending it to you, I have your information. So I love that silly thing. And the great thing is I've just hired like 4 people. I don't have to print business cards for them, even though I could on Trade. They're like, I'm like, just share the digital business card. That puts the website in the palm, and I explain it to them, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing ever. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's great. It's an amazing business tool. I just can't say enough about that. I really love my business card. So, but there's a lot of, you know, and I do use a lot of our clients because and not only does it benefit them, but then I can also see how they work, and then I can promote them. And when I promote a lot of the businesses that we work with, I'm always networking. I'm always out in the public, and people will ask me, well, who do you know? Who do you use? Whether they're using me or not, whether they're members of Instant Barter or not. So again, okay, back to what you should and shouldn't trade. Okay, things you shouldn't trade, like here. They can trade the conference room. They can trade the open office. They can trade their memberships because they can take an unlimited number of them. But they only have 5 offices here. So the offices really are not excess. They know that they're going to fill those. Now, when we had a floor of a huge building, then yes, those offices were for trade. So that's how you kind of can look at what you should and shouldn't trade. So if you have one and you want to get rid of it, then yeah, take trade for it. If you have one and you don't really care if you hold on to it or not, then don't take trade for it. You know, if trade is for access, you can use your downtime, you can use your future income as a marketing tool. You know, Joni has just gotten a huge contract because she's doing Gia Haller's wedding. I know, this is a huge contract. Now your company is young, isn't it? It's very young, okay. So she has a young company, and Gia Haller is also a client. So Gia Haller decided to hire her to do her wedding. Now this is what's going to happen to you, and I hope you have your seatbelt on for this one. So because she's doing those flowers on trade, Gia Haller's event has gone from a small backyard wedding to now it's in a $6 million mansion. People are donating their services and donating their time in order to be part of this particular event. And she's promoting all of the clients that are working through Instant Barter with her. So, and she, she's been promoting the heck out of you on Facebook, and she's known for doing that, and she's also going to be promoting you at the event itself. So that's huge. You're in front of 150 people. Most of them are not trade clients, and they're all going to see what it is you do.
Most of them are not what?
Not trade clients. They're not members. We do have a lot of members that are there, but they're people that wouldn't see her stuff otherwise. Like Bill Walsh is a client, and when Bill Walsh gives away or he trades his Rainmaker Summit, and in his case, he actually ended up with somebody that came from Canada who brought somebody from Guam to his LA event. That is business he would never ever get without taking trade, because they just wouldn't go. They wouldn't even know about him. We have some high-end clients. Jill Lublin is a client. She's one of the best PR people in the world. She can teach you how to get your press release seen. Linda Hollander just joined, and she does how to get corporate sponsors. Now, a lot of businesses don't even realize that they can start pulling corporate sponsors. Now, of course, we have a lot of different things going on in this company, so we know that we need that class. So, of course, I started using her so that we can start looking at doing that, corporate sponsorship. Kevin is very good at getting corporate sponsorship. He knows how to do that very easy. As you heard, some of you were here before, but he's got really good strategic partnerships here at this location. So, questions? Yes?
Okay, so back to.
Oh, microphone. Where's the microphone? Is it on?
Back to using your own personal stuff that you have in the garage to get trade.
I know, we gotta get your stuff out of the garage.
Yes. How does that work exactly? Do we bring, like, say, the clothes and the furniture to you, and then
okay,
you
good
decide
question.
how much money it's worth,
Good
and then
question.
that's what the trade is, or how is that determined?
Okay. Excuse me. We don't house anything. We are a bank. So if you have stuff in your garage, you can list them in our classified section. It's kind of like if you put Craigslist and eBay and Amazon all together, that's what we have. We have a pretty extensive classified system, and you put it in the classified, and then when somebody sees it somewhere, they might want to buy it from you, and you've got a great story. She's got great stories on that. But we don't house anything. I don't like to take in any of the inventory. Occasionally I will, but I'll buy the gift certificates, because it's a whole lot easier for me to walk around with this much money, which is probably real close to $10,000. Actually, more than that. I'm always walking around with money. I love that. You just always know. And yes, one of them is yours. But it's a whole lot easier for me to walk around with that than to walk around with, that type of inventory. Hold on. Let me give you the microphone and you tell your stories. I love her stories. You
Hi.
need to do a testimonial too.
Okay, I'm happy to do a testimonial. Hi, everybody. I'm Ann McGurty. My company is Strategize and Organize. And as Anna said, I help small business owners get to the next level by being more efficient. Well, I was sitting at her house Christmas Eve, I think it was.
Yep.
And I was thinking of, how do I use Instant Barter? I mean, the light hadn't quite gone on yet. It was a little dim. It was like a little night light.
We talk about the aha moment a lot.
and I sat there with her friends, and we were talking about it. And I'm like, well, I belong to a direct sales company that it's a multi-level company. And I'm like, well, maybe if I could get the product out there a little bit, I could use the system. And she's like, okay. And I wasn't paying attention to her saying the
Don't
word
list
excess.
more than you have.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the word excess. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to list. I went on the website. I'm like, okay, they have a really good package called the Doctor's Bag, and it's essential oils. And I thought, okay, I'll list this package. It's $350. And my cost is, as a member, it's $285. So she said, don't gouge people. This is not about gouging people. It's about being fair.
Dollar for dollar.
Dollar for dollar. So I'm like, okay, it costs $357 to people who are not in my organization. So I listed it. This is like, maybe it was 2 days before Christmas Eve, because it was Christmas Eve when I woke up, I think.
Yeah.
How many orders? There was
10.
$4,000 in my account the next morning.
Yeah.
I had sold 10.
She sells everything she lists. I keep
I
telling her,
sold
don't list
10.
anything you don't have.
And I'm like, Okay, so the trick is I had to purchase the product in order to fulfill. So, then you have to make a decision, a business decision, if that's the right decision for you.
Right.
Another idea, so last couple weeks ago, my sister sent me, she's like, do you like this certain shampoo? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I heard it's really good. And actually somebody just gave me a sample of it. So my sister sends me 6 bottles of this shampoo. And I'm thinking, really?
What am I going to do with 6 bottles
You
of
know,
shampoo?
I'm single, I wash my hair every day, but 6 bottles of shampoo is a lot.
Last me a while.
So I kept 2, and she had opened, so I kept 3. And I listed the other 3 on Instant Barter. I sold them the next day. Again, overnight, it's sold. So here, so here as I organize clients, and my focus really is business, but if you're at your house and you're paying for storage, or if you think, someday maybe you're going to get around to using something, or these clothes don't fit anymore, it's about using Instant Barter.
Absolutely.
So I have a specific need, and I came here with a creative idea this morning.
Uh-oh.
So
There's Marie when she gets creative.
do you want this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want this? I need to go to San Francisco on Sunday, and the airfare keeps going up, so I've been holding out, and I'm not. But I thought, can I put out on Instant Barter, does anyone have excess miles?
We've tried that before. We actually had, the difficulty is a lot of the airline miles are not easy to use, no matter, even if they're yours. Well, it's not even that they're not transferable. Some of them are, but it's the blackout dates and times. And if you're going to travel on a weekend, there's probably not. Airlines, I call airline tickets the golden elusive unicorn in trade. We have had them, I have seen them in my life 3 times. And if we get across to them, then you need to jump on grabbing them. They are the elusive golden unicorn. However, when we get to the point where we can, I had a trade organization that I was working with that American Airlines was in their backyard, and they went to American Airlines and they offered $250,000 worth of jet fuel a day just to trade their excess seats. But they said, well, we need $500,000, so that won't work. So, the airlines don't really kind of get trade. They don't realize that they have excess and they have downtime and the things that they can use it for. So when we get a little bit further in launching a lot of the programs that we're launching, we are launching our car program. A lot of you know I just bought a $9,000 Jag. It's actually a $12,000 car that I bought for $9,000 in trade. So, getting it to the mechanic was interesting, but we managed to finally do that. But it has a minor transmission issue, and we're fixing that up. And then eventually we'll be selling that car and my car, and we'll be launching our car program. So, yes.
I'd like to get
Get for
into
the-
one of things.
No?
I'm wondering, when you said you sold the other bottles of shampoo, you didn't mean you sold them for money, because that's selling as opposed to bartering, right?
Well, you gotta, you gotta remember it is equal.
I know, I'm not
It's-
there. But my question is, at some point, do you opt for what trade you want? If someone...
That's direct barter. Direct barter is I have what you need and you have what I need and we trade.
Okay.
This is a much simpler system. She trades her shampoos into the network, and then she can then buy her business card. Or she can buy something else.
Kind of like having a bank account.
It is a bank
Well,
account.
then, so you simply put those 3 bottles into the bank, so
Into
to speak?
into the classifieds.
$100 in my bank.
Yeah.
So I add it to my savings.
So they're in the bank, she's reimbursed before they even go to anybody?
Yeah. She gets
Okay.
paid. It's like if you list on eBay or Craigslist or something like that, you're going to list your product, and then somebody's going to purchase it from you, and then they're going to process a transaction by putting the money from their bank account into your bank account, right? Through PayPal or whatever. No. Exactly. She now has the currency in her bank account, and then she ships the product, and then she has that currency then to do the other things that she needs. So, and the nice thing, most barter organizations, they think of themselves as their own sovereign nation with their own currency. We're breaking down those barriers because I look at it, we're all banks, we all need to work together. So, if you're with one of the other ones, and like I said, there's 1,066 of them, and you want to use trade with us, Well, with the way it's currently set up, that doesn't happen. We're working on, and we've done it a lot, where trade, we can make anything into anything because everything is currency to me. So it's one of the big differences about instant barter is we do accept all currencies. So we not only accept other trade organizations' trade, because I can always buy something and turn it into a gift certificate. And once I've turned it into a gift certificate, do you care how I paid for it?
Who screens that what's put in is actually viable and not?
That is, well, most of our clients are extremely honest, and with instant barter, it is a very different model. We are not, it's a privilege to be part of this, it's not a right. And if you do things incorrectly, you will be asked to leave. And since I, exactly, and because it is a bank account, it is not legal for me to take your trade and close your account. A lot of trade organizations will do that. We don't do that. We will turn it into something for you, or we'll have you spend it, or we'll stop promoting you. You know, we do have a couple of clients that we do not promote because they're not doing honest business. We had an accountant that we sent him 4 clients, we got 4 complaints. Needless to say, he's no longer with us. We have accountants that we do trust. And because we want that kind of, we don't want, it's too hard for me to manage this company as it's growing and everything else. If you guys, I know, but the nice thing, okay, with, that's a good point. With, if you do direct barter, there's a lot of problems with direct barter. With direct barter, one person can get trade heavy. I use the example of the nail technician that needs $2,000 worth of bug treatment. Well, when she gets the termite treatment for $2,000, that guy is probably not going to use $2,000 worth of getting his nails done. Manicures are not on his top of his list. So when she needs somebody to come and treat her spiders, he's probably not going to want to show up. So he's now very trade heavy. And unless he has a harem of women, which he probably doesn't because he's a bug guy, and most of you guys know I actually was a pest inspector, so that's why it's funny for me. I was a bug guy. He's not going to use it. So now he's got all this trade. He has nothing he can do with it. Or say, for instance, she goes out of business. And now it's like, okay, now what does he do? He's lost that revenue. And there's nothing you can do about it. Direct barter, you can't even take them to court. It's not even considered a verbal agreement or anything else as far as direct barter. Now with a barter organization, we're a bank, so we keep everybody accountable. So for instance, if you pay somebody with cash or a check, you have to take them to court. You can't go to the bank and say, well, they didn't give me the service. But if you use your debit card or your credit card, you can say they didn't give me the service. We're more like that, where if they don't give you the service, then we can reverse the transaction, settle out the problem, figure out what has to be done. And then we also have the records that should you need to go to court, you can. Because the courts do see cash and trade as equal. So, but they reward payment in cash. So if you decided that this would never happen, but you decided to use Kimberly, and Kimberly doesn't do anything for you, and she's charging you, you know, $3,000 for the phone app. I think that's what they go for. $3,000 for the phone app, and she doesn't give you the service or whatever, and she won't do anything for you. Not only can we reverse the trade, but you can still take her to court. And the courts would award in cash. So then you would now owe her $3,000 in cash, if that happened. Yes, she has a question. Let me get that microphone back. That was a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. This is why I like interaction with these classes, because I don't know what you guys want to know, and I don't know what you don't know.
Okay, so back to your earlier comment that you have like a car program.
Mm-hmm.
So say I want to get a car, and I know that's going to be $10,000, $15,000,
Uh-huh.
but the products I offer are only, say, $1,000 worth of products. How do I build up my account so that I could use trade for a car? In what specific ways would I do that?
Sure. It's actually really, I'm going to put this here. Sit, stay. Okay, then I'll give it to you, because it doesn't want to sit, stay. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. It's actually fairly easy to build up your trade account because of the fact that we market you. We not only market you for cash, but we market you for trade too. So we like to market all of our people. I mean, when people, most people know that I use trade for everything, but it doesn't register in their head that, wait a minute, she's used trade for that. How am I going to use trade for that? They're thinking, I just need that. how much does it cost? You remember the time we were actually sitting across from each other when she told me about the digital business card, and I was like, this is the way my life and my business is. I don't go, how much does something like that cost? I'm like, I need that. That is a powerful business tool in my business. Can you build me one? I didn't even ask. She's like, well, it'll be, I don't care how much it costs. I need one. Can you build me one? And she's like, I know, right? It's a different lifestyle. When you get to run your business.
I asked you that once in a post, actually, because with the direct barter, people evaluate their stuff. their
Exactly.
stuff, and it gets so complicated.
It gets very complicated. Direct barter has a lot of difficulties. You also have to pay taxes on direct barter, and if you report and I don't, then we both get fined. If they find out that we didn't report, then we both get fined.
That's so wrong.
Well, with us, we keep track of all that for you because it's a bank account. So we're going to give you the same information at the end of the year like your bank will. So we actually give you that 1099 at the end of the year.
So someone like Ann has a service she can provide on an ongoing basis. So she could like monthly say put in so much to this.
Yes, she just puts, what she does is she lists to the network, and then we get her clients to utilize her program. Or in Ann's case, she needed some stuff right away, so we bought some gift certificates from her. And then what I do, most everybody knows when I am speaking, I give away gift certificates. So, and these gift certificates, like I have all of these gift certificates here right now to give away, and that's a lot of money. I'm not giving all of these away because there's only so many of you here. So everybody will probably end up with something though, so that's awesome for you guys. But that's one way. But we won't buy $10,000 worth of gift certificates from you so that you can now buy a car.
Right.
Because then you will have the car and we'll be out, and that's just not good business. So, but if you need things to build your business, then like a website or a digital business card or a phone app or you know, like in even Gia's case, Gia doesn't have enough trade to pay her. Gia and I worked out a deal so that she's going to be able to pay you. So that worked out well. Because she spent all of her trade very quickly, as a matter of fact. You know, I'm trade heavy, I don't need any more trade. And I'm like, everybody needs more trade. You guys just got to get out of that mindset. You need more trade. And then it's all of a sudden she's got this wedding and she's paying for the wedding and trade. And then the next thing it's like, oh, Anna, I need more trade. And it happens a lot. It happens a lot. But with you, one of the things we can do is we can get your classified listed, get more people using you. That's one thing. You can trade anything. We don't care what you trade. We care that you trade. So like all the excess stuff, she has 4 girls, 4 quadruplet girls that are not identical. So she has stuff in quadruplet. In quadruplet. So, so you know, that's another thing you can do. Everybody has something to offer. We actually, I was joking about this, that we have a client that needed somebody to iron for her. And here I was telling people about that all the time. And we had a massage therapist who's a registered nurse who does juicing that loves to iron. And she joined and she goes, I love to iron. She goes, I love to iron. It's so zen for me. And I went, well, you can go iron for her and get paid for it. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can do something I absolutely love, get paid for it, and then I can use that trade to now market my company. And I'm like, yep, that's how it works. And she's like, I love this company. So, so yeah, it's a lot of fun. She's actually an amazing massage therapist. She gave me a massage a couple of weeks ago. So I have 5 massage therapists. I still do not have enough because I need to be able to call any one of the massage therapists at any one given time and say, I'm in pain, come help me. So that's...
But again, regarding equitability, say she needed help building a website.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours would she iron for that? I mean, who decides how much?
No, it's dollar for dollar. So if say, for instance, say...
Iron for $12 an hour.
Yeah, if you're going to iron for $12 an hour, then that's an agreement that, you know, everything's worth what everybody wants to pay for it. And that's all it's worth. So if you agree that, well, it's a negotiation, just like in business. We're just a bank. We're just helping you find those clients.
Could you explain like a whole transaction, how it works?
A transaction?
Like you put your listing out there for your business, and you say my service is $300. So Anna comes along and she wants your service. So she pays $300 to get your service. Then now you have $300 in your bank. You can then go get a massage or get your nails done. See, it doesn't have to be with the same person.
Yeah.
What I keep hearing from you, I think, is that you're.
Yeah,
you're
she hasn't
thinking
gotten that.
You have to trade.
Hey, you know, you
directly with me.
you had a long time to catch up on that too. Everybody has to get past
No,
that.
I'm
It's
not-
not direct
I'm not
barter.
saying
Yeah,
anything
no.
about it.
Well, I
I'm
just
just trying
wasn't
to
seeing
explain.
where that was occurring.
Yeah, it is a bank
I
account.
realize it has to occur.
And we are, like I said, we are a bank account. So what, you know, you trade your, and it does take, I mean, I just had a client get a hold of me that I have been talking to. Instant Barter's almost 3 years old. I've been talking to them for 2.5 years. And I don't push because I don't have the commission structure. We don't have an enrollment fee, so there's no reason for me to push you to join. Like I said, it's a privilege to be part of this. It's not a right. So therefore, there's no reason for me or any of the people that work with the company to pressure you to join. You're going to get it eventually. And then what's funny, they're now talking to me about joining. So they're joining now after several years, and she's talking to me the other day on the phone, yesterday I think it was, and she says, so, because she still was thinking direct barter. And she goes, okay, wait a minute. Now, I can trade my services and then I can get anything that I want? And I went, yeah, pretty much. You know, we're talking in Tucson on, not, next Friday we're talking locally. We're doing this class again. And then the following Wednesday we're speaking in Tucson to a real estate group, because real estate groups are always trading properties and they get extra. They have a piece of property that's worth $10,000. You have a $5,000 property. You have to throw something in to make up the difference. So that could be a piano, that can be a car, that can be whatever. And now you have the piano, you don't want a piano. What does she want a piano for? She doesn't want to move it, she doesn't want to do anything with it. Now she has the piano as excess. So what they're going to do is they're going to start listing a lot of that stuff. There is a national company that trades properties all the time that realizes that even the paper currency is trade. Everything is trade. Trade started civilization. And it is a solvent economy backed by goods and services. It's also started capitalism. It's the only thing that really kind of helped the economy get back on its, well, it's the way to get the economy back on its feet. The paper system has actually failed 12 times throughout history. And every time it fails, people go back to barter. But with a barter organization, it's much simpler. Rather than you having to find somebody in your neighborhood that has the red wagon for you to trade for your barbecue, you just trade that red wagon, then you get the currency, and then you can go purchase the barbecue from anybody you want. So that's why this is so much better. The barter organizations, this is not a new idea. Barter organizations were actually started back in the 60s. What we're doing is making it very simple to use. The IRS actually has 8 pages on their website that say trade and cash are equal. And what we think is if they're equal, then they should be that easy to use. We're even working on swipe card technology. We're rewriting the healthcare model. We have a housing program. I have a program for power. We'll have Instant Barter and the nonprofit that I own will both have their own clothing line. So those are just some of the programs that we're going to be launching this year, you know, besides the cars. We want everybody to be able to use their trade for anything that they might possibly want. Because to somebody else, it's excess. Now for the weddings, I mean, we've got everything from the dress on down. I mean, we've got, wedding dresses are excess, if you think about it. You know, somebody has them somewhere. You know, either they've had them and they've worn them once, which is the stupidest expense in the world, or it's a wedding, it's a bridal show or a bridal shop, and maybe some of these others aren't moving real well, but if you go and try on dresses at that shop, then aren't you promoting the shop? And it's a marketing tool. You're advertising the company by using the excess, and that's what one of the things that's really good. She's had a question forever, so we're going to get to her question now. Thank goodness she wrote it down. Good job.
Okay.
I've
Anna?
taught her to do that.
And I have a question actually in regard to what Anne had said. She said that that she had to make a decision on whether or not to purchase out of her off of her multi-level business,
Right.
to make that investment so that she could put it into trade.
Right.
All right, because she had sold 10 of them and she only had one. Now she's got to have that expense of buying 9 more $300 packages or whatever it was that she had.
What we
Okay,
did-
So that's my question, is because I love what I do. I love sitting and making the flowers. Problem is that the materials cost.
And everybody has overhead in their company. There is no company that doesn't have overhead. When it makes sense for you to use trade is when it's going to do something like this big, huge marketing event. I mean, if you had it, and just we're going to throw this out there. If it turns out to be like $5,000 or $10,000 worth of flowers that you're doing, which is kind of typical for a wedding, isn't it? Pretty much.
For if I'm doing centerpieces and everything, yes, it is.
Okay. So we're going to say that all of a sudden now she's going to have $10,000 in trade. Now, my mindset is, okay, what are you going to want to spend it on? And we've already got some ideas on that, so we're okay. But even though she's going to have to put out for that $10,000, hopefully your profit margin is so that you're going to be putting out maybe $1,000 to make $10,000, because that's pretty much a normal profit margin. So say she has to put out $1,000 to do this $10,000 wedding and get the $10,000 in trade. As long as we can find the things that she needs to spend the trade on to market her company and the things that she needs in her personal life and everything else, and with this particular event, she's going to end up with getting clients, referrals, and stuff like that. There is no way she's not.
But you're talking about buying the inventory to deliver. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, whether she's making it and using the clay and the stuff that she uses for these amazing flowers that she does, or if it's Anne having to buy the, that was essential oil or something like that. But in Anne's case, because of the fact that she's now marketing her product and getting that into that many houses, it would make sense if she had the currency to do it. So.
But what you're saying is she's still going to have that currency to make it happen.
Well, she's going to have to, the nail technician, if she doesn't have polish, she can't do my nails for cash or trade or whatever. So it's still business.
Weren't you asking, I'm not seeing a connect between her question and your answer. Maybe I misunderstood the question.
Okay, in her case, like I said, in her case, she's got to put out, we're going to say roughly about $1,000 in order to do this wedding to get paid $10,000 in trade. The $1,000 is right now it's cash that she's going to be putting out because we don't have a supplier yet, but you need to get me the supplier that you use and I'll talk to them.
So the answer is yes, you're going to have that.
Yes, and regardless, I mean, in business, you're going to have to put some currency in your business. So, and even, I mean, Instant Barter was starting no liquid, no paper currency. I still had to put, there's still things that I have to pay for. I mean, I have to pay for the internet. I have to pay for the stuff that's in my office. I have to pay, those are all cash expenses. Everybody has expenses in their business. But like I said, even the nail technician, if she doesn't have polish, she can't do my nails for cash or trade or whatever. So it's really not going to matter. You're going to lose the business. But in this case, she will get marketed for,
ROI will be tremendous.
Oh, yes. But she has to come up, And then a lot of times what we will do is, because our background is building business, and increase your profit, lower your overhead. So like in the case of the alcohol inventory, we get that to a hotel or a restaurant. That's going to increase their profit and lower their overhead. They can buy that for trade, turn around and sell it for cash or trade. So in a lot of cases, and in the case of the stuff that she needs supplied, we'll go talk to the supplier, see if we can get them to understand trade. And once they do, that's going to really skyrocket your company when you can use your trade in that manner.
I've already talked to her about it, and she does use barter.
See?
Somewhere
Easy.
else, but it's not with you.
Not
So
yet.
We're going to have to.
Not yet.
We have to get you
Hey,
guys
with the lowest
together.
fees in the industry, it's easy. With no enrollment fee and the lowest fees in the industry, it's really easy. So did that help you? Okay, good. You had another question?
I guess I had a comment on how I dealt with a little bit of that, because what I did is with Instant Barter, I've learned I have to think outside the box.
Oh, always.
And
There's a box? I know there's a box.
What box?
No.
There's no
There is a
box.
box. I know there's a box. I've always known there was a box, but it's like way over
And,
there.
if it, you silly lady, I love it. Well, one of the things, so I thought maybe this example can help you and, open up some, a light here or brighten a light, is I thought about, okay, so I needed $250, but what was on my mind is I needed to get my car tuned up. I was going to Las Vegas in a couple of weeks, and I was thinking, I can't do this because I need the money to go to fix my car. And then I thought, aha, there's
Anna
a car.
has a mechanic.
She has a mechanic in
And he
Instant
gets
Barter.
trade.
And he does trade.
He does parts and labor. We're the only person that has that.
It was amazing. So
Yeah.
I got my car fixed, and it freed up that $200 and
And this
whatever
is a
dollars
great
in my
example.
mind.
This is a great example. Okay, so
Thank you. I'm
They're
glad
her
you think it's a
product.
great example.
Yes,
Because
her product costs her $250 in cash to be able to make the profit, okay? So she's, you know, and this is a great example of, okay, I've got to pay $250 to get the product, but I'm going to make the profit of selling it for trade. Then I now have, what does it sell for, 350 or something?
Like $75.
Okay, so we're going to say, okay, I'm just going to use easy math because I don't like to use complicated math. So if you pay $250 and you're going to get $350, you made a $100 profit. Now she has that $350 to go get her car fixed, whereas she would have only had less than the $250 because you never spend your last dollar out of the bank, ever. If you do, you're crazy. So, so then, you know, she went and she got her car tuned up and got a couple other things too, I think. So, but yeah, we do have, she got her hair done. Oh yeah, I love her. She curled my hair last night.
She's so busy. It's hard
I
to get
know,
into it.
it's hard, but we're getting her a virtual assistant to answer her phones. So, you know, we're even helping her because she has become, we have this amazing beautician, and I just can't say enough good things about, some of my clients are just amazing. Most of my clients are amazing, but some of my clients I just can't say enough good things about. But anyway, she worked on me. Like I said, with doing filming, you have to worry about, you know, what do your scars look like on camera? I've had spinal surgery, so I have scars on my throat that you guys don't notice. I don't barely notice anymore, but on film they show up. So you have to worry about those stupid little things. I have a day spa that's working on the scars. I have other people. I've even got a new makeup artist that's going to try and show me how to hide them. You know, and they don't bother me. I don't care. I wear them as a badge of honor. But in filming, you don't realize that that's what those are. You know, if you watch this class later, you're going to look at me and my neck looks like it's like this, you know. It's huge. And you have to worry about camera angles all the time. Stupid stuff that you have to learn when you're doing this stuff, I'm telling you. There is a video out there where I look like a house in this video because of the camera angles. But you can get different services. For instance, our mechanic, he's always, let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. He is a very honest mechanic. He's very smart in business. Didn't expect that. He knows how to communicate with people, and he'll take the time to explain it to you. And we're all women in this room right now, except for our filming people and stuff. But as women, that is empowering to be able to be, you know, even if you never join my organization and spend trade with him, I have an honest mechanic that you can trust. That's a big deal because we know. I actually took my car to a place and I told them, I said, look, I've got a grant coming in, just write up whatever it needs. They sent me down the road with a bungee cord in the engine with the main belt. The main belt was like 3/4 of it was cut. It was flipping, you know. And they sent me down the road with the main cable that goes between the transmission and the battery was frayed and sparking. And they said, we don't know what's wrong with your car. You're going to have to go to this other mechanic. And it was literally the other side of town. So when my car died in an intersection, I almost got killed. And that's why we had to set up trust for the company. So, but here I was, and I'm in a skirt and heels. I can't push my car out of the intersection. And everybody's like mad at me for parking in the middle of the road. Like I did that on purpose. So we know, and I mean, I can do a lot of things. I can do repairs. I can't do that stuff anymore because of the massive surgeries that I've had. So when I go, Preston, I don't understand. He even has an engine where he teaches kids about car maintenance and stuff. You need the girls to take that class because they need to know simple basics of how to change a tire, how to change their oil. They need to know that just because they're girls, you know. So, and I'll go, wait a minute, Preston, I don't understand. Let's go to the engine. And we go to the engine, and he goes, well, oh, okay, that makes sense now. And I'm not an idiot when it comes to repair on cars. I know most of that stuff. But when you go to a mechanic, you have to trust them. And regardless, like I said, regardless of if we have an honest mechanic, everybody should use him. And we can't say, I mean, Terry even talked to him the other day, and he's just amazing. He's the one that's working on our cars. So he's working on our car program with us. He's going to make sure that all the cars are gone over, and we're going to fix anything mechanically that needs to be fixed. And then he's even got the place to house them because he's moving to a bigger facility. And we're going to be helping him move to the bigger facility and get him a bunch of stuff that he needs while he's there. So, you know, that's, you know, there's things in business that you need to know. Like for instance, we're constantly telling people, she's not here, but we have an accountant that was supposed to be here today. And her working with your business to help you set up your books and stuff, and you know, when you first set up your business, that's a big deal. people don't realize, because, you know, entrepreneurs, we are so bad. We will do like, oh, well, I got to do my taxes once every 5 years, whether I need to or not. You know, that type of stuff. But that's actually backwards thinking. You don't have to have all the paper currency to hire that bookkeeper because you don't have the time to do it. I just recently, I had to do something that took me a long time that wasn't supposed to take a long time. It was supposed to take 10 minutes, it took me 4 hours. And it was, to me, it was a waste of time and it was frustrating. Now, I use the example of I have, as a speaker, I had to come up with what's called a one sheet, which literally is one sheet of, Anne's shaking her head, she knows. It's one sheet of paper. It has, I should carry it with me. It's one sheet of paper, it has your picture, it has your bio, and it has what you speak about. One sheet. 3 hours later, I'm still trying to create my one sheet. And I went, this is stupid, I'm hiring somebody else to do it. And I did. I paid her trade. So, because that's what she does for a living. You know, I tell people, yes, I can coach you in your business, I can help you, mentor you, but it's really not the best utilization of either one of our time. When I had an office, people know this about me, and when we came to Club E's open house, they were like, do you have an office yet? And I'm like, no, I still can't have it. And they're like, you can't have an office, because they remember those days. When I had an office, people came into my office and they sat there for 3 hours at a time picking my brain on their business needs. I got nothing done. So I can't have an office. But I can come and do classes here or in other locations that I have, or I can come and, but I have people that that's all that they do. I have bookkeepers that that's all that they do, and they're very good at it. I'm never going to do my books. Somebody else is going to do those for me, because I don't like to do it. I don't do it well. I don't do it quickly. So it's something I always have to offset. My website, I'm never going to build a website. I have several websites that have been built. Every time I upgrade them and everything else, I always use trade for that too. So I'm not going to take the time out of my day to do something, and that's a big mistake that most entrepreneurs make, is they realize they don't have the currency to do these things, so they want to sit and do it themselves. Well, that is the worst thing you could possibly do for your business. Because if you just hire somebody that's what they do, then you can focus on the things that you're good at, that you like to do, or that you have to do. Like, I just listed the game on Amazon, and by listing the game on Amazon, I had to do it. It was not fun. It was very frustrating. The site is very confusing, and it took me more than 4 hours before I gave up. And then Amazon finally did their part and put it up there. So I don't know if it's up there right, but it's there. I don't think it's up there right, because it says there's like one, and I don't know. Anyway, so, but it's there now. And, but it was something that I had to do because I had all the information. I couldn't just like give the information to somebody else, because all the questions that were being asked. Unless it was like Anne was coming to my office and Anne did it for me, and Anne was asked me the questions. She's actually done that. She's even remotely said, let's clean up your email. And we did it by phone and by, was it GoToMeeting or something, Join Me or something like that, where she just took over my computer and she's like, well, what about this stuff? Because that little motions are difficult for me. There are some stupid things in my life that are hard, like taking out my garbage and other things in my life that are difficult, that are not difficult for the rest of you. Using a mouse, I can't do. I've had these extensive surgeries and I cannot use a mouse. I have to use a touchpad mouse. So when you come to my home office, you go, where's the mouse? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's in the drawer. My son used to hate that. He'd come over, he sits down, he says, where's the mouse? You don't have I can't use this way. But to me, it's the only way I can use my office. You know, I have extensive, I've got a hydraulic desk that I can move up and down. In case I can't sit at my desk, I can stand at my desk. Standing's much easier than sitting for me. You know, I'm kind of a giraffe. So, other questions? I don't know where the microphone is now.
Could you speak a little bit more about what not to barter?
Sure. I will do that. Do you want to hold your question and me do that? Okay. Okay, so write your question down, though, so you don't forget. Like I said, one of the things that you don't want to barter is anything that you only have a very small amount of. Again, in this case here at this facility, this drop-in area, the conference rooms, those type of things they can barter. Their memberships, they can barter easily because they can take an unlimited amount of memberships. But in this location, they only have 4 offices. They say 5, No, they only have 4 offices because that's their office. So they only have 4 offices. The offices are not excess. They cannot trade those. Now, if, like in my case, my apartment complex, I actually use trade for even my condo. Now, he has 3 condos. He trades 1 of them. He doesn't trade all 3. He trades 1. So he trades 1 to get all of the repairs and maintenance and everything else that he needs for all 3. You know, that way he's got the painter and the handyman and the carpet cleaner and, you know, the plumber and the electrician and the air conditioning repair and everything that you'd need to have, but he trades just 1. He doesn't trade all 3. Now, if you've got 30, then yeah, you can trade 3. You can do 50% of your revenue in your business and trade through a barter organization, an active one, and be okay. One of the things I teach people is, and this is always a fun one for everybody when they get this, in the 70s and 80s in business, when everything was about bonus, everybody got cars and travel and country clubs and golf resorts and entertainment, and you got that just for doing a good job, right? But it doesn't, what you don't know, no, nobody's old enough to remember that. But what you don't know is that was all trade. It really doesn't matter what the economy is doing. We can have that lifestyle now. You can treat, we're going to get into that guy. You can treat your people and you can become that guy. For instance, let's say that you had, let's say you're a web designer, and on the day that you launched that person's website, the anniversary of you launching that person's website, you did something like sent a bouquet of flowers. Everybody that walks by your desk is going to say, where'd you get the flowers from? Well, you're not going to believe this, but Bob, we always use Bob. Bob, whenever we don't have a name, we use Bob. Bob, he didn't, it's an old joke. Bob didn't, he remembered when he launched our website. Isn't he amazing? Bob just became that guy. Now, even better, Joni's flowers never die. So everybody that's walking by the desk 3 weeks later, they're like, those flowers are still alive. That's amazing. How did that happen? Oh, well, you know what? Now she's just been marketed for cash too. So that's huge. You become that guy. Everybody needs to be that guy in business. Again, you know, I was in hiding for 14 years. I used to run business the way that I run business now. I didn't learn all of these things that you guys learned because the economy was bad, which is a good thing for most everybody. We're realizing now because I didn't get into that mindset of the mentality of lack and not doing those extra things. You know, when my son came into town, I hadn't seen him in a long time. And when he flew into town, I had him picked up at the airport in a town car. Remember, my company is not old and it's not making a lot of money yet. It will eventually, but not yet. So he's like, but I don't need to be picked up at the airport in a town car. I said, this isn't for you, this is for me. He goes, what do you mean? And I said, I'll get lost at the airport. I'm a small town girl. The biggest town I've ever lived in before I moved to Phoenix was Pendleton, Oregon, 8.8 miles from one end to the other. Population of about 1,000 people. And I moved to Phoenix. I get lost all the time. So at the airport, I actually did go to the airport to do a rental car, and I couldn't even figure out where to pick up the car or where to park, and parking garages, oh my God, don't even get me started. So I get lost in situations like that. So instead of having to fight that and fight the traffic and worry about, you know, where am I going to pick him up or whatever, I get picked up at my house, driven to the airport in a beautiful town car. My son is met by the driver with me, and the driver is taking his bag and can I go get your other claim, and walks him out to the car, hands him a bottle of water. Welcome to Phoenix, Arizona. The temperature is such and such, and you know, this is the time here now because he was coming from Oregon. And he puts his bag in the car. Is there anything I can do for you, Mr. Hawk? My son was not even 21 years old. He's in the car. He's texting all of his friends. Oh my God, I'm in a town car. I'm in a Bentley. You know, and he's just telling all of his friends about what, you know, and it was a very special thing for us. And it was just because I didn't want to get lost at the airport. So that was one of the things that was, you know, that's the thing that you can do. You can spoil the people around you. We have several weddings that we're working on. Everybody knows that. But we had a gentleman that we are getting him his ring for the engagement. He didn't tell me ahead of time that he was getting engaged. But he just used his excess or his, he's a piano player. He came here to Club E to do their open house. They hired him using trade dollars to do the music while they were doing their open house, which was really nice. I mean, people don't even think about doing those little things of having music, having catering, having these other things. Now what he's using his trade for is he went on a hot air balloon ride and asked his girlfriend to marry him. So, and then we're going to be doing the wedding for him too. You know, we can do, again, we can do everything. We used to be able to do 100%, a wedding, 100% trade. I didn't realize how big a deal that was in the industry until I couldn't do all those services anymore. There's a few services I'm still lacking on, and I've got weddings all over. I've got a wedding in San Diego that I've got to do, which is harder because I'm not, you know, right there. But we are, like I said, Instant Barter's in 9 countries already, and we're being asked to go into a 10th country right now. We just had somebody try to join from India. We had somebody from England join. They've never even spoken to me, let alone met me. So they've found us with our videos and stuff like that we've done. And when you Google Barter, now I noticed it slipped yesterday, but it's been consistently that when you Google Barter, Instant Barter comes up behind Wikipedia, beating Craigslist a lot of times, and Craigslist pays for that kind of advertising. So that's kind of a big deal for such a young company. You know, and we don't pay for any social, we use trade dollars for everything that we pay for. So, you know, we pay for our social media that way, we pay for all of our advertising that way. The game, everything about the game, we actually have some really cool videos on the game. We're building an online interactive version. Everything that we do, I use trade dollars for, because I have more of that than I do the paper currency. You know, it's a young business.